All right. Oh, I forgot to hit fade out. That was disappointing. Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. It is time for more Tabnine Labs, and Atticus is here under my desk, banging against a computer I no longer use anymore. Yeah, and I've had my pumpkin spice latte for today. Thank you, Duncan. Not sponsoring us, by the way. But if you want to send me more delicious pumpkin spice latte, please have at it. Yeah. So we are back. Oh, we got a comment already. Let's see what's going on. Oh, happy Tuesday. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I guess we'll just get right into it. So today, I have decided that since we at Tab9 happen to create a Visual Studio Code, VS Code extension, and I've never done that before, I thought, why not see how that works? Why not try to create one? And so I've come up with a simple example. The whole point of this is to see how Tab9 can help us with building these different things, not to make the most complicated thing out there. But we're going to try to create an extension that will help manage our to-do comments. So I do that a lot with / to do as a way to remind me about different things, and then I end up going back and doing a search for them. But wouldn't it be nice if it was just available in a grid or something? And I'm sure this extension already exists. I don't know why I don't have it, because it seems like something I would have, but it seemed simple enough as a good kind of example project for building a Visual Studio extension. So yeah, part of this is I want to see like kind of what's all available. What can you do with the extension framework that they've built? Yeah, and play around with it. So that's what we're going to do today. And I don't know, is there anything else? I always feel like I'm going to have like all of these announcements and things that I'm going to start with, and then I go live and I take down the starter screen and I'm like, what was it? I don't know. I will say, for those of you who are watching right now, I will be back on Tab9 Live this Thursday with Shantanu, as we are going to go through our new Jira connection. So for engineers out there who are using Jira, we got you. We can connect to your Jira instance, pull back information about the tickets that are assigned to you, and use them to help not only create the things that are in the Jira tasks, but validate against them. So those are kind of the two things that we're going to be showing off. But I didn't spoil too much of it, so please feel free to join us this coming Tuesday. I believe it's at like 10. Where's my calendar? It is at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. So if you're on the East Coast like I am, 10:30. Otherwise, adjust accordingly. So that should be fun. Let's go ahead and switch over here. And like always, just starting off with kind of, this is my test Tab9. It's really just a folder. I think it's empty. Yeah, there's nothing in it. But this is how I start off, because I like to start with a chat with Tab9. So I've kind of, I don't want to say sworn off Googling, because I still do it. But I like to get started, do my planning just by like having a conversation with Tab9 in the chat. And for those of you who are new, I like to use Claude 3.5 Sonnet. I don't have good reasoning behind that. I've always had good luck using it, but at Tab9 we give you your choice. This is the coding assistant that you control. So if you want to use GPT-4o, go for it. If you want to use CodeStroll, also an option. Command R+, we got it. And we're adding more models, as they come out, as we deem them helpful for the coding assistant. So, make your pick. So yeah, So like I said, today is going to be about creating a VS Code extension. I use VS Code probably exclusively. I've used some of the IntelliJ IDEs. I was big on WebStorm for a while. But yeah, this is going to be kind of how we do things. So Tabnine AI, this is an extension, so it covers things like your code completion. It covers the chat, all of these different agents that we've built in, things like that. So, you know, yeah. So let's see. Let's start out, and let's kind of ask what can it do. So. I'm just going to say I would like to create an extension for VS Code. What can extensions do? So I did something like this earlier because I always like to do a little bit of brainstorming before I hop on the stream, so that way I'm just not staring and making some noise like but this is kind of what I did to get set up to figure out like what it is that we're capable of. And so again, this is a Claude 3.5 sonnet. So it always starts with something like certainly or absolutely. It's so optimistic, I guess. Okay. So it says they can do a wide range of things, including add new commands and keyboard shortcuts, modify the VS Code UI, add new views, panels, or menu items, create new language support, syntax hiding, IntelliSense, etc., implement custom debuggers, add custom file and folder actions, integrate with external tools and services, provide code snippets and templates, implement custom formatters and linters, add new themes and icon sets, create custom file exporters or tree views, implement custom search providers, add support for new file types, provide custom hover information, implement code actions and quick fixes. And then it goes into more. So to create VS Code extension, you typically use JavaScript or TypeScript. Here's a basic outline of how you get started. So great, Node.js, got it. NPM, got it. The Yeoman generator. Okay, so that's nice. So unlike, let's say, like the Rust CLI that we did, we're not really starting from scratch. It's pointing us to a generator. So the good thing about that is it's going to set up a base project with the different file folders and maybe even kind of the files that we need to get started. That's always nice. Because one thing that I discovered is whenever you're kind of in this planning phase and you're trying to start code from scratch, it's nice to ask them to give you a folder structure of typical similar projects. That's something that I wish I would have done with the Rust CLI early on, because I feel like something I could have done better was build it a little more modularly early on, and that would have made testing a lot easier. Because what I found out is if I just keep adding things and it all goes like into the main file, then when you turn around to test it, it's going to be really hard because nothing's really broken up, and you can't test things as units if they're not written as units. Okay, so a new extension project using Yao. So we do Yao code, follow the prompts to set up the extension. You see your base. Once your project's set up, you have a basic structure, including a package JSON file and extension JS or extension TS. Here's an example of what your extension TS might look like for a basic hello world. Cool. So that's the JS version. See, registers a command when triggered, shows a hello world message. You can test it. Remember to update your package JSON file to include any necessary configuration that you've added. All right. This is just a starting point. As you develop your extension, you can add more functionality by exploring VS Code Extension API and implementing features that suit your needs. Cool. And then the other thing that I like to do is whenever we ask Tabnine these questions, it always tries to generate follow-up questions that you can continue to ask. So it's like, what are the prerequisites for developing a VS Code extension? So that's one. If you choose to use it, you can just go ahead and click on it. Oh, and this is kind of nice. So to develop a VS Code extension, you'll need to have certain tools and knowledge in place. Here are the main prerequisites. Node.js and NPM VS Code extensions are typically developed using JavaScript or TypeScript, which run on Node.js. Install the latest LTS version of Node.js. Yeah, we got that, which includes NPM. Visual Studio Code, got it. Extension generator, so that's the Yeoman generator. All right. Git, optional but recommended. Programming knowledge, so familiarity with TypeScript or JavaScript or TypeScript is essential. I'm going to choose to use TypeScript today because that's what I always choose now. I feel like it was like a few years ago, I was like, you know what? It's just going to be TypeScript and I'm going to force myself to learn it. And I feel like I've done a pretty good job about that. So yeah, let's see. The VS Code Extension API, basic understanding of the VS Code Extension API. You don't need to know everything up front, but familiar with the core concepts is helpful. Okay, so I don't even feel like I know the core concepts. So that could be like a great follow-up question about this, because instead of going and studying the API, looking at their webpage and stuff, I'm going to try to get through it just by using Tabnine. So knowledge of JSON, yep, got it. Command line interface, sure, we love them. TypeScript, yep. Development environment, we got that. I hope I have sufficient disk space. Internet connection, if you are seeing me now, I got that. And publishing tools. So not as important for this. I don't plan to publish my extension, but it's something that you can do. Code extension CLI tool. So I'm guessing that we're probably not going to need that because I don't plan on. And then the most important one, patience and willingness to learn. I hope I have that. I feel like I have that kind of job where you never stop learning. And so, yeah. I mean, not to like age myself, but like web applications didn't really exist whenever I was in college. So cool. So let's ask one more follow-up around this and say, what basic understanding of the VS Code extension API is needed to create a new extension? Okay, cool. To create a new VS Code extension, you need a basic understanding of several key concepts and components of the VS Code extension API. Here's an overview of the fundamental aspects you should be familiar with. Extension lifecycle. Understand the activate and deactivate functions in your extension's main file. Know how to register and dispose of resources properly. And then 2, command registration, how to create custom commands that can be invoked by users. So we got a little example here. Okay. And then extension manifest, which is part of the package.json. Understand how to configure your extension's metadata, contributions, and activation events. Contribution points, know how to add items to VS Code's UI, commands, menus, views. Cool. So an example, skip it. Wow. Snippet here. All right, so that's part of the package JSON. VS Code API namespaces, familiarity with main namespaces like VS Code.window, .workspace, .languages, text editor or text document and text editor, understanding how to work with open text documents and editors, workspaces and workspace folders, how to access and work with the user's workspace, configuration, how to read and update extension settings. So we got something here. Diagnostics, how to provide error and warning indicators in the editor. Information messages and user input. Wow. Web views, of how to create and use web views or custom UIs. Tree view. Language features. Extension context. Asynchronous programming. Async await, you know that. Event handling. How to subscribe and handle VS Code events. All right. While you don't need to be an expert in all these areas from the start, having a basic understanding of these concepts will give you a solid foundation for creating VS Code extensions. As you develop your extension, you can delve deeper into the specific areas that are most relevant to your project. Remember, the VS Code extension API documentation is comprehensive and should be your go-to resource as you develop your extension. It provides detailed information and examples for each of these concepts and more. Great. Ooh, I kind of like that. Okay, I was going to get started, but I want to see what the answer is for this because we just talked about this earlier. So a follow-up question that it generated for us are, what are the best practices for organizing and structuring my VS Code extension project? So organizing and structuring your VS Code extension project effectively can greatly improve maintainability, readability, and scalability. Here are some best practices to consider. Use a clear directory structure. Organize your files in a logical directory structure. A common layout might look like this. All right. Separate concerns, group-related functionality into separate files or modules. For example, this hello world. I see. So it's a hello world command, and so we are keeping it under a commands folder in hello world. So here we've got the commands folder. So we would just add it as its own little module inside of there. Use TypeScript. TypeScript provides better tooling support and helps catch errors early. Configure config.js appropriately. Implement activation events. Use specific activation events in your package JSON to ensure your extension loads only when needed. Okay, an example. Proper error handling. Implement try-catch blocks and handle errors gracefully. Log errors for debugging. All right. Okay, try-catch. Console.error. All right. Use configuration. Store user configurable settings in the package.json and access them via the configuration API. Okay. Implement disposables, properly dispose of resources to prevent memory leaks. Something that I'm not used to, just being an web application developer. But we do not want memory leaks. I remember bad days of working in ANSI with that. Let's see, use Webpack for bundling. Okay. Write tests, implement unit tests and integration tests in the test directory, use the VS Code extension testing API. Document your code, use JS docs comments. So these two things, I think we can greatly be helped by Tabnine with our test agent and then our code documentation agent. So we know how to do this. Use a consistent coding style, implement a linter and formatter to maintain consistent code style, implement telemetry, optional if you want to collect usage data. We probably won't do that now. Localization, if your extension supports multiple language, use VS Code's localization features. Keep the main activation function clean. The activate function in extensions.ts should be concise, delegate complex initialization as separate functions or modules. Okay. By following these practices, you'll create a well-structured, maintainable VS Code extension that's easier to develop, test, and scale. Remember to consult the VS Code documentations and details. Awesome. Okay, so I think that was a lot of information that I got as somebody who has not created an extension before. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to go ahead and scroll all the way back up to these instructions. So first I need to install Yeoman generator. So let's go over here. Where did I put that screen? Okay. So we're going to install this globally. Just sitting in my developer folder inside of my home directory where I tend to put things. Getting so many notifications from Amazon Prime for Prime Day. I do not need to be buying anything because I'm spending all my money booking things for Japan. Okay. Oh, there's a minor version of npm available. We'll do that later. Cool. So Yeoman generator is installed. Let's create our new project. So I'm going to use Code and follow the prompts. So we're going to get the base set up. We're going to use their generator to help us with that. And that will keep us from not having the correct structure and trying to do everything in one file. Except Yo didn't work. I think I might have to do node env rehash. Oh no. I cannot find package memfs imported. Well, that's never good. The code argument must be of type number. Cannot find package memff. Why? Okay. I didn't think that was going to work, but it was always like, why not just try it again? Boop. Cool. Why am I getting the following error when creating a VS Code extension project using YAL? Using Yo code. Let's see what it says. The error you're encountering suggests that there's an issue with the dependencies of the Yeoman generator or the VS Code extension generator. This could be due to a version mismatch or a corrupted installation. Here are some steps you can try to resolve. Okay, fine. I don't think this is going to be it, but I will follow their steps. Because if AI tells me to do it, I do it. Just kidding. Don't get any ideas, AI. Great. And then we are going to install Yo generator code again. I love this one. This package is no longer supported. This package is no longer supported. All right, but it seems fine. All right, clear npm cache. Sometimes clearing the npm cache can resolve the dependencies. Sure. All right. I feel like we just basically redid this. We did this. Check for global conflicts. Sometimes globally installed packages can conflict. Try creating a new project without global packages. Oh, I wish it would have told me that. I love MPX because I don't like installing things if I don't have to. Let's try this. Nope. Same thing. Same thing. Manual package installation. System-wide issues. Ensure you have necessary permission to install global packages. No, yeah, that should be fine. Use a different terminal. Consider manually setting it up? I don't want to consider that. Okay. So let's do that. Well, that should. It has been a long time since I've used Yeoman, so let's. Do I have a window? Okay, hold on. Okay, so I'm going to uninstall Yeoman. I feel like this might just be maybe something is old. And so what it suggests, now I've gone to like the main page, so I broke my first rule here, but this is what it suggests to use. So MPX with the package yo, the package generator code, and running yo code. Okay, so it says we need to install these packages. Sure. Well, those warnings look familiar. Oh, ooh, but it's actually working. Okay, great. There's the Yeoman. Okay, what type of extension do you want to create? A new extension, TypeScript, language support, code snippets, key maps, extension pack, language pack, new web extension, new notebook renderer. Maybe I haven't. I can't move. There it is. I don't know what happened, but it wasn't selectable. Cool. I think we are going to choose new extension TypeScript. What is the name of your extension? We will call it code to-dos. Sure. What's the identifier? Yeah, that sounds fine. What's the description of your extension? Manage to-do tasks found in code comments. Initialize a Git repository. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. Which bundler do you want to use? Unbundled, Webpack, or ES Build? Well, earlier it did say Webpack, so we'll go with it. Which package manager do you want to use? We'll just go ahead and use npm. Cool. So writing all of these files, changes are made, running npm install. Do you want to open the new file with Visual Studio Code? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Boop, there we are. Let me make that bigger. So we can see here that we've got a lot of different things. What? Show recommendation. Extension test runner. Yeah, let's go ahead and install it, sure. I don't know about these other things, so we'll just... Okay. All right, and so we have our little setup here. We have tests. We don't have like commands and things like that. Cool. So do we have anything? We have an extension.ts, and it says, okay, so we're importing VS Code. We have an activate. So this method is called when your extension is activated. Your extension is activated the very first time the command is executed. Hold on, while I'm thinking about it. I don't need you anymore. Close that one. Cool. And we got a console log that says, congratulations, your extension is active. And then it's being disposed. This method is called when your extension is deactivated. Okay. Cool. So let's go back over, because let's see what it does just right now. So I'm going to go back to tab 9, and I'm going to say, how do we run this extension in VS Code? Open up VS Code, press F5, or select Run and Debug. In the drop-down menu that appears, select Run Extension or Extension Development Host. This will launch a new VS Code window with your extension loaded. In this new window, you can test your extension. To trigger the Hello World command that is currently implemented, open the command palette. Type Hello World. You should see the message. Remember, every time you make changes to your extension, you'll need to restart the extension development host to see those changes. You can do this by closing it or clicking the restart button in the debug toolbar of your VS Code window. Also, make sure your package.json is set up correctly. The current setup looks good with the main entry being point to dist extension.js. And the code tool todos.hello world command properly defined. If you want to package your extension for distribution, we don't want to do that either. Okay, great. So let's run this. And yeah, it only took us a half hour to get this far. So we're going to go up here to run. And did it say to start debugging? Select run and debug from the activity bar. Is this the activity bar? So run extension. We're running. The task npm watch has not exited and doesn't have a problem matcher defined. Make sure to define a problem matcher for watch tag. So, okay. So here we go. Type in hello. Got the memory of a goldfish. Okay, so I said that. Open the command palette. Type hello world and select the hello world command. So hello world. Hello world from code to dos. Exciting. Okay. Great. That was thrilling. let's now, we'll do a new conversation. So let's start with our extension that we're going to make. So we're going to make it to manage to-dos found in code comments. So we already have the base set up. Small victories. I love celebrating small victories. Those little bits of the dopamine. So I want to create a VS Code extension that finds all the to-do comments. We're getting there. To-do comments in the workspace and displays them in a sidebar. I like that. Clicking on a to-do comment should open the corresponding file and jump to the line number. I like that. I think that's a good start. Let's do that. How would I implement this step by step? Step by step. Use different files. Or let's see. I'm trying to say, like, I don't want it to just give me like one thing. Build this using VS Code extension development guide. Should be written so easily tested. Let's see, each function should have its own file. Is that what it was saying? I don't remember. Because like for here, like this little thing, this is making a command, right? And so really it should have been put in its own command file. Yeah, let's see what it says. Modularity, yeah. Certainly, I'll guide you through creating a VS Code extension that finds to-do comments in the workspace and displays them in the sidebar. We'll implement this step by step, following VS Code extension development best practices. Here it is. First, let's update the package.json file to include the necessary contribution points. So there's a refresh to do command. And then there is an Explorer view. All right, so let's go to, ooh, this seems new. Oh, I like this. This must be a new update because before we had where it came up with the location of the file, but it was also like an absolute path. So this now is a relative path, and it's very clearly a button. And when I click it, it pulls it up. I like that because before, and I don't know if we fixed this yet, but whenever I would switch over here and then switch back, yeah, so it still does it. It scrolls to the top, but there's a ticket for it. We're going to get it fixed. Cool. So let's go down to, we've got contribute, commands. So we are going to add this other command here. I'll keep the hello world in there for right now. It's fine. And then we also need this whole views section. And I'm going to put it under commands because of the alphabet. Did I? Oh my gosh, I pasted it in the wrong place. Okay, so commands is here. There we go. And we don't need that trailing comma. Great. Now let's update the extension.ts with the implementation. Ooh. So I feel like it could have made this more modular, just kind of looking at this. So here is what goes in the extension. Right, and so it is right now, so here is our class to-do tree provider. And I wonder if that's, I can't remember what the, what it looked like. I think there was like a commands folder and then a views folder. And then there's like a to-do item. And then there's the activate. Okay. So what I'm going to do is say, can we move the view code to a separate file in a views folder and import it in the main extension file? Certainly. That's a great idea for better organization and separation of concerns. Well, thank you. Thank you. I read that in something. Let's create a new file for the code and import it in the main extension file. Here's how we can do that. First, create a folder called views in the source directory. In the views, create a new file called this and move into it to new file. What happens if I click this? Because this technically doesn't exist yet. File not found. Insert diff did not create it. Oh man. If it's not found, this okay. So this is another ticket that I'm going to add. The other reason I do this live is so if we find things like this, I can add tickets, right? And then maybe we can make it work. So we do need to create these. So let's go. We need a views folder. And then I'm going to copy this because I don't want to have to type it again. So we'll go over here, inside source. We're going to do new file. Not new file. New folder. It's going to be views. And then we're going to create a new file called this. To-do tree data provider. And we're going to go back over here because that's going to tell us what goes in it. Scroll position. Oh, that's the first one. This is our updated one. So this is what's going to go inside of the data provider. So I'm just going to go down here and say insert. So that's nice. Now let's update the main extension TS file to import and use the to-do tree provider. Cool. And so let's go back over here. And I think This is going to basically remove everything. You know what? Let's remove the hello world stuff too. So that's fine. Cool. So we got the VS Code. We're pulling in our to-do tree data provider. We got our activate function, which is going to create a new tree provider. We are going to register that. We've got our refresh command. So I feel like the command should be pulled out. We also have another one. And then we've got the subscription. So I'm going to do everything here. Get rid of that. We're going to insert this. Cool. Neat. Let's see, this reorganization has several benefits. It improves the overall structure of your project by separating concerns. It makes the main extensions TS file cleaner and easier to read. It allows for easier maintenance and potential expansion of the to-do tree data provider in the future. Remember to update your TS config to include the new views folder, if not already covered. All right, so let's, this thing is in the way. You're in the way. Come over here. Oh, we got a trailing comma there. And I am going to take out this hello world command since it is now gone. Let's look at this. We got a refresh command. And we got a to-do window open command. Okay. So now I'm gonna let's see if we can clean up the commands. So can we move the command command code to their own files inside a commands. Oh my gosh, I'm having so much trouble with commands folder. Certainly, moving the command code to separate files in a dedicated folder is an excellent way to further organize your code. Let's create a commands folder and move each command into its own file. Here's how we do this. So we're going to create the commands folder in the source directory. New folder, commands, and go back over here. I'm totally going to go and bump up the importance of that ticket that I wrote as I scroll all the way back down. And create two new files. So refresh todos.ts and open todo.ts. New file. New file. Open todo.ts. All right. So we've got files now. And scroll back down. All right. And then move the command code to the new folders. So that should work. Insert. Beautiful. It's okay. I hope this is right. Open to do, insert that. And then let's update the extension. And so what do we got here? This looks like, so we're importing these to register commands. And then we are pushing them on. So I'm just going to overwrite the whole thing because I think that's fine. This reorganization provides several benefits. It further improves the structure of your project. It makes cleaner, allows easier maintenance, improves testability by isolating command logic. That's something that we want. We love improving testability. Remember to update the TS config. So I ignored that before. But let's go make sure. I guess it's fine. We'll see. Okay, so now we should be able to restart this. And then go over here. Do we have to do? No, to do. Oh wait, P. Oh wait, yeah. To do. So we've got focus on code to dos view. Toggle to refresh to dos. Let's just do code to dos. Oh, okay, so we have over here. Here's our code to dos. That's not something that's just like in everything, is it? Okay, good. Oh, I see. Over here, it's not in there. Cool. So let's take a look at what's going on with this command. So refresh to dos. Tree provider.refresh. Okay, oh, that's the command. So let's take a look at this and see what it's doing. So we've got a to do. Well, you know what? Let's just get an explain. Can we explain this? Let's go back over tab 9. Seems like a good time for a new one. Explain code. So the selected code defines a to-do tree provider class, which implements the VS Code.tree data provider interface for managing a tree of to-do items in the Visual Studio Code. Let's break down the key components. So the class decoration, the event handling. These lines set up an event emitter to notify the tree when data changes. Refresh. This method triggers a refresh, tree item retrieval. And so we got this get to dos somewhere. To do item collection. So this is the function that's doing all of the stuff. So this private method scans all files in the workspace for to-do comments and creates to-do item instances for each one found. Key steps in this method: find all files in the workspace, open each file and read its context, split the content into lines, search for lines containing to-do : create a to-do item for each to-do found, including the line content, file URI, and line number. The to-do item class extends a tree item to represent an individual one. Implementation allows for dynamic tree view. Okay. So yeah, we can see here that basically when it runs get to dos, we're just looking at everything in the workspace and we're trying to pull all those out. So right now we don't have anything. So let's open a folder. Let's go into developer and we'll use this tab 9 test. Cool. So let's create a new folder and we'll call it source. New file and say index.ts. And what I want to do is put in to do. Ooh, we'll just we'll just do this. Cool. And so we'll save that. And then, of course, because of Tabnine's auto completion, it's going to try to, do all that. And then let's do a new folder and we'll say, I don't know, routes and new file. And this is going to be blah.ts. And we'll do another to do and say add route for handling incoming requests. Sure. And then what we're going to do is create another file called routes.ts. This is going to be a get route for retrieving all users. Sure. We're going to ignore the red. I just wanted some code in there. Cool. Save that. And so now if we go to code to-dos, look at that. Add route. And if we click on it, well, that was pretty easy. And that one worked. And then the other file that we created, nothing in there. Well, that was pretty successful. So now we can figure out, do we want to add anything to it? How do we want to extend this? I didn't think we would get to this so quickly. Interesting. Okay. So I guess before we get too far, let's go ahead and test these features. So that way we can get testing built in. And then maybe we can add a feature if we have time. We've got another hour to do things. So if you're out there watching and you're like, here's a good feature that we should try to attempt to add, please throw it in the chat, and hopefully we'll get to it. I didn't think this far ahead. It's pretty great. Okay. Cool. So let's see, new conversation. Oh, and we've got our nice debug console, which I don't remember asking for, but that's fine. So what we want to do is let's first just ask. So how should we go about testing this extension project? See what it has to say. To test this extension project, we should create a comprehensive test suite that covers various aspects of the functionality. Here's a structured approach to testing this VS Code extension. Set up the testing environment. The project already has the necessary testing dependencies installed, so VS Code Test Electron and VS Code Test CLI. We'll use these to run our tests in a VS Code environment. Create test files. We should create test files for each major component of our extension. Based on the current structure, we should at least have extension.test.ts. So I don't know what this like suite folder is. Suite, extension test suite, start all test, assert OK provider, to do item creation, more tests, test the to do tree data provider, add more specific tests, Okay, so this is a good way to get started. And then we can use the test agent to help us with the rest of the tests. So like all of this, like add more tests, da, 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 da. And so this is in the tree data provider test. Test the extensions commands. Okay. So create tests for the commands that the extension contributes. Add more command tests here. Okay. Integration tests, create integration tests that simulate user interactions with the extension. Okay, that's inside that suite. Run the tests, update the test script in your package to run all the tests. So we've got node.out tests run tests. All right, continuous integration, set up CI pipeline, GitHub Actions to run these tests automatically every push. That would be awesome. Remember to mock external dependencies and VS Code API calls where appropriate, and ensure your tests are readable and don't depend on actual VS Code environment. All right. Oh no, we're having trouble streaming to LinkedIn. Cool. So for any of you watching on LinkedIn, sorry about this interruption. Hopefully we'll get back. It will fix itself. Okay. So I'm interested in why it's in a folder in tests called suite. I'm just going to ask it. Why are the tests in a folder in test named suite? The tests are typically placed in a folder named suite within test directory for several reasons. Organization, it helps organize the test files in a structured manner, especially as the project grows and more tests are added. Convention, the structure is a common convention in VS Code extension development. Did not know that, so that's great. Partly because it's a default structure created by the VS Code extension generator. Separation of concerns, it separates the actual test suites from the other test-related files, like test runners or setup files, that may be in the parent test folder. Modularity, it allows for easier grouping of related tasks into different suites, which can be helpful in larger products. VS Code extension testing framework. The VS Code extension testing framework is set up to work well with this structure out of the box. Did not know that. So here, run test.js in the test folder would be responsible for setting up and running all of the tests in the suite folder. If you prefer a different structure, you can certainly change it. No, I'm fine. I want to go with the standards. This question here probably saved me a lot of work, because I would have been like, we don't need that extra folder. What's that? That doesn't make sense. And then things wouldn't have worked, and I'll be like, why? So asking this one question probably saved me a lot of headache. So regarding the selected code command, code to-dos.open to-do, this is defining the command that will be executed. The actual implementation of this. Okay. Oh, it might be because I have that open. I don't know. Okay, cool. So let's do this. So I'm going to start with this because it's using the knowledge of the Visual Studio extensions guide and general ways of testing. And so I'm going to get that set up, and I'm going to run these tests and just make sure that that works. And then we can supplement this by using the test agent, because there is an option that comes up. It's like, do you need a test file? And I can say no and give it an existing test file to put these extra tests. So all of these places where it says add more command tests here or add other tests here, that's where we can leverage the testing agent to help us out. So cool. So setting up the test. Okay, this project already has the necessary. Create these test files. So we do need this suite folder. So let's create that. Test. I think this is from the generator. So we'll just ignore that right now. New folder, call it suite. And I think I'm just going to put that in there, move it, go back over here and see what it says to do. Cool, except what we are going to do is use this. This is like sample tests, assert strict equals, da 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 da. Not helpful. This, helpful. Okay. So add more tests. We might do that later. This is where I would put a to-do : add more tests, and then it would show up in our plugin. But unfortunately, we're making our plugin, and it hasn't been published, so we can't use our plugin to help us make our plugin. Yeah, totally meta. But our engineers at Tabnine who use VS Code use the Tabnine plugin that they built with Tabnine to build the Tabnine plugin. Yes, something like that. So basically, our engineers use Tabnine to help create Tabnine, and the ones that are using VS Code and building the VS Code plugin, they're using it while they're building it. Got to keep all that straight. Okay, so we did the extension test. We need this one. I want to copy. Can I copy? Okay, cool. So we need to create this file. Yeah, file not found. Sad days. New file. That one. That's open. Go back over here, and we'll paste that information in. Cool. And now we want to do the ones for the commands. Cool. Oh, wait, did I? Okay, I just copied that. Man, going back and forth. New file, commands. Commands, let's insert this. Integration tests, we need this one. Is there a way other than adding the limit after each request to tell TNC that we do not want to use semicolons in our project? So I think there is something that we are working on that's kind of like a local coaching where you can like put that in like once, and it will honor all of that. So like right now, the way I handle it is through my linter, right? So like whenever I hit save, if I don't want semicolons, they go away, or if I do want them, they put them in there. But I think with these additions, I don't know when they're going to drop. I might be like leaking things. I can't promise timelines, but this is definitely something that I thought would be great, because especially like, think about, I would like, my responses to come back in Spanish if I'm a Spanish developer or something like that. So like being able to like do these configurations at a local level would be amazing. So right now you can continue to kind of add it to the end. I think another option might be, we have, and I haven't played around with these too much. I need to do something on this, but we do have defined custom commands. And so I think what you can do is define a custom command that's like my style. You can do like /my_style. And so like start with that custom command. And then it would like put all that stuff at the beginning, and then type in your question. I think that's like one way to do it. And so that way you don't have to like type all that extra stuff, but you do have to like invoke that custom command before each thing. So It's not perfect situation, but it's better than having to, like, I don't know, copy and paste like a couple sentences or remember to put it in. Something to play around with. So play with custom commands. So it says, like, you define your own personalized / commands that you can use anytime without having to repeat the prompt over and over again. So, like, and I think when you go in here, so it's like the name of the command, description, and then enter the prompt template. And so it's this. So use natural language and available variables using $, or code symbols using @ to accurately describe the purpose of the prompt. So I would play along with that. I think we do, like, there is a section of that in the docs. So yeah, worth looking into. But good question. Cool. So now we did commands.ts. Integration test. Okay, I'm going to try to do this one a little bit differently. I'm going to hit the new file. So it did that. And then whenever I save, I'm going to say sweet. And I forgot what this was supposed to be called. So this is something.test.ts. All right, well, that something. And it should be integration.test.ts. So let's, can I see command P, rename. Oh my gosh, I hit caps. Nope, that's Japanese. Nope. Work with me here. Rename symbol? No. Terminal rename? Oh, okay. Fine. Let's try not to hop over here. So let's rename this to integration.test.ts. Cool. This is unhappy. And I don't know why, but we'll figure it out here in a minute. Because also we seem to be missing the run tests. Create test files. Came in my feed. I'm a casual programmer. Need to see if Tabnine is useful for my needs. Currently, I use paid LLMs, but I need extra help to build a full-fledged code base for my application. Yeah, if you are new to Tabnine, I recommend just installing it, because we do have a 90-day free trial of Pro, so you can get everything with Tabnine just by installing it and setting up your Pro account. When you put in a credit card, you will notice that the next payment date is 90 days out. So you can cancel it if you're not happy. We hope that you will continue. But that gives you plenty of time to try it out and see if you like it. The other great thing is we give you access to multiple LLMs. So we have Tabnine protected. If you are worried about copyright and code privacy. So anything that you send to us, we only store in memory and then delete after it's done. So we're not keeping copies of your code. But then also we have LLMs like Claude 3.5 Sonnet, which is what I'm using. We also have GPT-4o. We have CodeStraw from Minstrel. We have Command R+. So different things that you can try out. But yeah. And I think it's great for a casual programmer. At the beginning of this, we knew that we wanted to create a visual code extension. I had never done that before. So the first thing I did was just start asking a lot of questions about how to build it, what the what the folder structure looks like, how you would go about testing and things like that. And then we jumped in with code extension, or with these VS Code extensions. There is a generator that helps you get started with a simple hello world. And then I just asked what it wanted. Student discounts. We are working on something, but I guess right off the bat, I would start with just like a regular 90-day free trial, and then when it comes to subscribe, we can work on that. Ask me again, and I'll figure out like what we came up with, because I know we've talked about it internally many times. But yeah, no, I love working with students. Did a lot of hackathons at different colleges in previous roles, and so yeah, I would like you to be able to use it. Okay. Why is this? Okay, so we'll fix that. Let me scroll down. We just did integration test. Update the test script in the package. So let's see. Where's our scripts? Our script test, it just says VS Code test. I don't know if, so it says like, remember to mock. Okay. But it mentions this runs test. Okay, so I'm just going to ask, does this work with VS Code test? Yes, the package.json configuration works with VS Code test. However, I noticed that your project is using a newer testing framework called VS Code test CLI. And instead of the older VS Code test, let's break this down. Your dev dependencies include, okay, these are newer, officially recommended testing packages for VS Code extensions. Your script section includes VS Code test. The script is using the VS Code test command, which is provided by the test CLI. The commands section you've highlighted. Have I highlighted something? Oh my gosh, where does it pick up? Is part of the contributes field, which defines the extension's contribution VS Code. This doesn't directly relate to testing, but defines commands. To ensure your tests run correctly with the new testing framework, you should update your, make sure that you have a test runner file. Typically, this would be at test. This file should use Electron to run your tests, and your test should be located in source test suite directory. As we discussed earlier, is it just me, or are we getting a little attitude? I feel like there was a little attitude in there. It's like, we've already talked about this. I've been using Tabnine for about 1.5 years, and I can tell you that at this point, they are literally updating on an almost daily basis. Yeah, we are pushing things out, especially if you are using SaaS. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of exciting things coming. And we love feedback. So please, like, give us all your feedback. If you tweet at Tabnine, I will make sure that that feedback gets reported. And as I'm doing this every Tuesday, any things that like annoys me, anything that we consider like a paper cut, I make sure that gets logged, because if it annoys me, I know it annoys you, and we're going to get that fixed. One of the better investments that we have made. Good, I'm glad. Are you using Tabnine with like the Teams feature, where you can like add teammates to it, or do you each just kind of have your own? Do you each have your own pro account, I guess, that's not connected? No, yeah, if you, I fully understand if you don't tweet anymore. It's a different place. Best email, I would just send an email to feedback@tabnine.com, and someone will get that. It might end up creating a ticket, but that's fine. I'm the only developer here in our IT department. I know how that is. My first job out of college, I worked for an IT department at a food manufacturing plant. Um, and I think I was the first programmer that was hired. So not only did I like set up computers and go and like troubleshoot and stuff like that, but they hired me because they wanted to start doing a little more custom programming. So I had to work with like lens systems and things like that. But no, I feel you. I wish I had Tab9 back then, because my boss, she was great, but she did not understand my programming questions. Um, and at least you can talk to the chat here. Just be like, how are you today? Yeah, definitely try it out. Let us know what you think. If you run into any problems, like I said, you can tweet. There's feedback at tab9.com, support at if you have any problems. We are working on setting up a Discord so you can talk to other Tab9 users and me. And, if you were here last week, Christopher, he'll be on there as well. So let's see. Okay, so this file is definitely missing. So I'm going to hit new file, and then I'm going to save that and make sure it's in the right place. So where is this? Is this the right place? Do you not see the test folder? Oh, test is in source. That's why. That seems weird to me. Okay, sure. And this is going to be, I always miss I think it's run test.js. Let's see. Did I get it right? Source test, run test, singular. Oh, so close. .ts. Again, memory of a goldfish. Run test. Let's rename. So run test.ts. So that should be fine. And then we'll continue on. Scroll position. We got to run tests. Okay. And so we have test. We got extension.test. The to do, yada, 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 commands.test. So I think everything's right. We do have some issues here. So let's figure out what this is. And we're going to start a new conversation. Just because we've been talking about one task for so long. I just talk to Tabnine Chat all the time. Yeah. Right? There you go. Cool. So let's see. So I'm going to go over here. I've highlighted this line because we've got an issue here with the vscode.window.create tree view. And I'm going to say fix code and see what it gives me. To fix this error in the selected code, you need to provide the required options argument to the create tree view function. Here's the corrected code block for the immediate containing function. See what the diff looks like. Okay, so there's only one change. Oh, interesting. So there's like this whole options thing where we actually pass in our new to-do tree data provider. This was missing. Let's go back to show all. And let's find it. So it's this one here. And it's probably mad at this because it's not found. So let's quick fix that one and add the import. So this check if the to-do tree is registered. And then down here, so create a test file with to-dos. Okay. And so we've got another error here. Says save text document does not exist on type of workspace. Did you mean text documents? I don't know. So I'm going to, again, highlight it. Let's do a new conversation and say fix code. Looks like we're still having issues with LinkedIn. Not sure what's going on there. All right. So what's this? I understand that you're encountering an error. The correct method to save a test document is vscode.workspace.fs.write file. Because we got open text document. Oh wait, vscode.workspace. This change replaces the non-existent save test method. So that's interesting. Let's see what this one says is. Did you mean text documents? I wonder if this was like it used to be. What is the purpose of using instead of test document? Let's say, what functions are available on VS Code workspace to work with the workspace? Let's see what that says. Okay, so based on the VS Code API documentation, the VS Code.workspace namespace provides several functions to work the workspace. Open text document. Okay, save all. Find files. Update workspace. Did change. For the specific task of saving a document, you should use. Okay, well, it's telling me twice, so. Interesting. Okay, well, I mean, I'll use it. That's fine. So let's do that. Insert. I mean, it makes it happy, but we'll see if the test works. Cool. So all of these are green now. So we should be able to. Where is my? Not you. Here. So let's do CD into, gosh, what did we call this? Code to-dos. All right. Nice. And let's do npm run test. It's running it, extracting, downloading. Did something. Oh, okay. So we've got to do tree data, get tree item returns to do item. That's good. Get children returns an array of 2. What do we got? Integration test suite, extension activation, and to do tree. Integration test suite, extension activation, assertion error, the expression evaluated to a falsy value. 2 tests failed. To-dos, code to-dos dot open to-do not found. I wonder if it's mad because we have this open. Let's close that. And then, okay, so that thing's gone. So we're done. Let's run it one more time. So I'm gonna clear just to make sure it wasn't mad. Okay, so we're testing. Okay, so it's the same thing. The expression value. Code to do's dot open to do not found. I wonder if that is in. Let's make sure that our package JSON is right. So yeah, so we have one command here for refresh to do's. Whenever I was pasting that in, I was like, oh, we only got refresh. Do we need to have the open command? So let's see this. Do we need to add the open? What's it called? Open to do command to the contribute.commands array. Based on the provided code snippets and current state of the package JSON file, it appears that the open is not currently included. Since you have implemented the open to do command in your extension, as seen in the register open to do function, it would be good practice to add it. So here's how to add it. That was easy enough. Let's hope that's what we wanted. So I'm just going to add this command. So there's that, and oh, great. Somehow didn't grab everything. Copy, paste. Why can I not copy and paste? This is like computer science 101. There we go. It's probably what the class is now, like computer science 101, copying and pasting from Stack Overflow. Soon it will be replaced with copying and pasting from AI. Cool. So we'll see if that fixes it. So again, I'm going to clear this because that's a bunch of junk. npm run test. And we're down to one test failed. So this is integration test suite, extension activation, and to-do tree view. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to copy this here and say, how do I fix this failing test? The error message suggests the extension is not being found or activated properly during the integration test. Let's go through the steps to fix this error, this issue. First, make sure the extension ID in your test file matches the actual extension ID in the package.json file. Your extension name is code to do's. However, in the test, you're testing your extension ID. Well, I think we figured it out. Let's go fix that. Where are you? Your extension ID. Yep. Cool. Copy paste errors do happen. And so it's like, here, maybe try this. If we actually go down and like take a look at the, oh, there is no diff. Okay. Let's try this. Put in the right thing, not something that I just copied and pasted, and we'll see if it runs. Da, 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 da. Let's see, clear. Run the test. Also, if you like my terminal, it is the Warp terminal. And I'm using, what am I using? Starship .rs. And we are still failing. Okay. Terminated unexpectedly. So that wasn't it. Let's continue to go down this. Okay, key changes. Also, make sure that your package.json file includes the necessary activation events. Add this to your package.json. Oh, wait, how is it working in debug? That's what I want to know. I guess it's a good thing that we're doing these integration tests. Activation events, there are none. Cool. So let's highlight this, insert, and then why are you upset? This activation event can be removed as VS Code generates these automatically from your package.json contribution declarations. Okay, so if I need Tabnine Chat to access a large data set in relation to the code producing it, is it able to reprocess a file not in the workspace, or should I temporarily add, say, an That is a good question. So our local context is workspace based. And so you would either need to put the file in the workspace, and then like you can use an app mention to pull it into your chat, or you can just like copy and paste it in. I do that sometimes. So whenever I was working on upgrading conform from like the sub 1 version to 1x, there were some things that the LLM didn't know because this was too new. And so I basically went and I found the upgrade page that they had on the site, and I copied everything and I pasted it in the chat, and then I said fix it, and it did good. So yeah, it just needs to be in your workspace somewhere. And you could probably do like some kind of like data folder and then put that in your .gitignore, and then like load all of that in there, so that way you're not, singing it to Git. But then if it's in your workspace, you'll be able to, pull it in to help with that. So give that a try. Okay, so it doesn't need this. So quick fix. Ugh. All right, I'm just going to remove all of them by hand. All right, so that wasn't the problem. How can I ensure that the extension is properly registered and activated before running the test? I wonder if there's like a command. You're what? You're right to focus on the activation events in your package.json file. This is a crucial part of ensuring your extension is properly registered. I think it's a little behind. I think the LLM's a little behind. It seems like there was like a new version of these tools that came out that it wasn't aware of. So it says, additionally, to further ensure proper activation in your test, you can modify your test file as follows. So this is in this. So we got suite innovation, Git extension, code to-dos. Await extension not activate. So it says if the extension isn't already active, activate it. I don't know if that is the problem. Okay, so let's start a new conversation. I'm going to run this again. I can't remember if I changed anything, so. It's just mad that I have this open on a big... Okay, so... Copy all of this. Let's see what this says. Okay. Stuff I don't really understand. Client requested name New York regular. It will get Times Roman. All systems. Okay. So how do I fix this broken, or this not broken, failing test? The test is failing because the extension code todos is not found when trying to get it using get extension This could be due to a couple of reasons. The extension ID might be incorrect. The extension might not be properly registered or activated in the test environment. So to fix this, you can try the following steps. First, make sure the extension ID in your package.json matches what you've used in the test. Check the name field in your package.json. You know what? Let's check it. Name field. That's display name, code, to-dos. Looks good to me. If the ID is correct, you might need to ensure the extension is properly loaded in the test environment. You can do this by adding a delay after activating the extension. So let's go back over to this file. Ensure that the, wait, okay. So we've got ensure that the extension is activated. Let's see. Sure, it's activated. So here we are here we're saving the extension. So I think that's fine. And then we're asserting OK extension, which maybe it doesn't like that. Because if you look, we've got this message that says assertion error, the expression evaluated to a faulty value, assert OK extension. So it could just, maybe this is not the right way to do it, and then that's causing the test to fail out before it even tries to activate. So yeah, let's use this part of the code. So we are going to activate the extension. We're going to do it all in one line. Okay. And then we're going to add a delay to make sure that it's fully activated. Makes sense. And then here, oh, okay, I see. So after the delay, we're going to get the extension. Okay. Rest of the code, more tests here. Well, let's see if it works. Started all tests. I feel like we got further. I saw it say start all tests. One test failed. Extension should be available. So it's that assert right there, but it's not available. Okay. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go over it's the integration test. It's like, how do we extension? Oh, that's the test suite. Run test. Extension. Cool. So let's test. So generate tests for this code with Tabnine. This should activate the test agent. First, I need to review your test file. I have one. And it is extension. Did I click it? Yeah, okay. So it's going to generate a test plan. It did open up the extension test.ts. Cool. So here's the test file. It talks about the existing tests that we have. So we're already testing the to-do tree data initialization. So it knows that. And the to-do item creation. And it suggests some other tests. Should register a tree data provider called for code to-dos. Isn't that what this one is? Should create and register a refresh command for the tree data provider. I wonder. Where am I? Is that's in the commands? I wonder if that's in test suite commands. So, okay, so this is where it's testing. I want to make sure I'm not like doing something in the wrong place or twice. So let's go back over to Tabnine. Should create and register open command. Should add both refresh and open commands to the context subscriptions. Should handle errors gracefully. If data tree provider fails, should verify that the to-do tree provider is instantiated with create parameters. What's this? Should check if the activate function returns undefined. Interesting. Okay. Should ensure the context object is not modified. So these are more this one seems pretty straightforward. Let's see what this one is. It would be good if you could tell the test generator that you have multiple test files in a particular folder. Yeah, I think that's probably like a future type step. This test agent is kind of going function by function. So maybe that's part of it. So it's using Synon here to spy. Do we have it already using Synon? Okay, so we would have to install Synon for that to work. Okay, instead let's do one of the commands. Instead of this extension. So new test plan. Okay. So let's go into So there's commands refresh to do. what I want is to do the test on the thing that's like, so I think it's in the views. So the to-do tree date provider, there is this function here. So I want to add more tests for this. So let's try test here. I have one, and this is to do test. Yeah, there we go. Continue. So yeah, did I highlight the right thing? Did I highlight what I wanted? Get to-dos, yeah. So here it says add more tests for get to-dos method, refresh method, etc. So, oh, and of course it's trying to like Tabnine autocomplete's trying to help us out here. That's not what we're playing with right now. Okay, should correctly identify and extract to-do items from files. Should handle multiple files with multiple to-do items. Ooh, these are kind of nice. So let's do this. Should correctly identify and extract to-do items from files. We're not doing that, right? Get tree item. Okay, yeah. So let's try this. Generating the test. Okay, cool. So get to-dos correctly identifies and extracts to-do items. So we've got test files with content, mocking the find files. It's using just.mock. Mock workspace open next document. To-dos, get to-dos. Well, let's insert it and see. So cool. So as jest cannot find namespace jest. I'm gonna ask. Oh, we gotta go back over to the chat. That's why I can't find it. What test library is used to mock see. Based on code provided, it appears jest. Yeah. However, it's worth noting that the overall structure of the test suite using is more typical of Mocha, which is the default test runner for VS Code extensions. It's possible that this project is using Jest for mocking capabilities while still using Mocha as the primary test runner. Aha. Okay. So I'm going to undo that. And then we're going to go back over to our tests. And this is where, if we get a test, so Jest is very popular. So is Vitest, which uses Jest. And so like this is the answer we get. But what we can do is before we decide to use it, we can say, can you update this to use Mocha instead of Jest? I think I'm not the best tester. Like Mocha's the test runner. But I think Jest is a test runner, but it also has the mocking capability. So let's see what this says. So what do we got? Mock workspace text files. So this is using synon.stub. Synon. So what library do code extensions typically use for mocking? VS Code extensions typically use Synon library for mocking in their test suites. Okay, cool. Synon is a popular standalone test spies, stubs, and mocks library that works well with various test frameworks and assertion libraries. The reason for using Synon instead of Jest, which we initially thought might be used based on the previous code snippet, is that VS Code's extension development toolkit is pre-configured to work with Mocha as a test runner and Synon for mocking. To use Synon in your VS Code extension test, you would typically import, use it to create spies stubs for tests. Cool. To properly implement mocking for the VS Code workspace, find files and functions, you could modify your test file like this. Okay, this approach using Synon is more in line with typical VS extension testing practices. Okay, so that was all. I think that was also a good ask because my instinct is to use things like Jest and Vitest, but to be more in line with extension developers, we can stick with that. There's probably ways that we could just turn the whole system on its head and be like, we don't want to use Mocha and Synon. We want to use Vitest and Jest mocks and all of that. But that's huge. So let's go back over to the testing agent, and we will insert this test, which now uses Synon. Cool. But then now it's probably mad because we cannot find name Synon. So I'm just gonna say, how do we add Synon to this project? Oh no, that's not the right place. Here it is. How do we add Synon to this project? Basically, I'm too lazy to type, this part right here. Ooh, and type definitions. Yes, please. So let's copy this, paste that in, and instead of running it in 2 commands, we're going to grab this as well. Let me grab it. Cool. So we're going to install Synon and Synon types. And then that should make that happy. Oh, we need the import here. So, boop. Does that make you happy? Okay. So we've got calls fake. This might be a TypeScript issue. Yours perfectly defined. Okay, yeah. So I think this is a TypeScript issue. So new conversation. How do we resolve this error? It's like my favorite thing to put in there. I guess I could have also did like /fix code and that would work, but sometimes you want to be verbose. To resolve the errors in the selected code, we need to make a few adjustments to ensure type compatibility with vscode.workspace.open text document method here. Here's how we can fix it. Cool. So file, fine. Here's what we changed and why. That's good because I was like looking at it. I was like, what is all of this? We explicitly type the URI parameter as vscode.uri to ensure type safety and to access the fs path property without errors. We've expanded the returned object to include all the properties that vscode.textDocument should have. This resolves the type incompatibility issue. We've cast the returned object as vscode.textDocument to satisfy the TypeScript compiler. We've added some placeholder values for the additional properties. You may need to adjust them based on your specific testing needs. The save method is implemented as a simple function that returns a resolved promise with true. These changes should resolve the TypeScript errors you're seeing. The mock now returns an object that more closely resembles a real code. Yeah, so I guess that would be a good thing for a mock to have. Okay, yeah. So let's use that. Ooh, that did not make it happy. Did I do? Calls fake. I like how it was so confident, and I so believed it. Right? Okay, so open text document mock.fakes call. I wonder what happens if I just code.uri. Hold on. Scammer's calling me. So that wasn't it. So to-dos is any right here. Okay, so this was not right. To make adjustments. So I remember this. And then we take that, calls fake. And so this is the function that gets called. I'm going to try one more time. Why are you mad? So it's not happy about this. So let's try let's try this. Fix code. Okay, so to fix these errors, we need to adjust the mock to match the expected signature and return type. Wait. Changing the parameter type to accept either a VS Code URL or an options object with language and content properties. Very weird, but okay. I don't know. Let's see. Well, it got rid of a lot of the red. What's your problem? Does not like this. I feel like we're just going down a... All right, so what do we got? To fix this error, we need to adjust the parameter type of the mock function to match the expected for open text file. Here's the correct. Okay, so it looks like, let's see, show diff. Boop. So we got optional here. Okay. And then the rest of the template, whatever. And then, okay, the second one. So, else URI dummy TS content oh, we got an else if. Okay, so let's take this out. And we got an else if that goes above that. Okay. This else if right here. Okay, cool. Well, that seems to be resolved. Isn't TypeScript fun? Or mocking things is fun too. Okay. So we got a implicit any here. We'll go through the same exercise and say fix code. To fix the error, parameter 2, well, we need to explicitly type the to-do parameter in the for each callback. Here's the minimal folding range code block that fixes the error. Assert strict. Let's show the diff here. So cool. We're just saying to-do item. All right. So we've added another test using the testing agent. We did have to go and tell it. So use synon. Let's see. So that should do all of that. Let's take a look at this one. Handle files with multiple to do. So it's generating the test. And here we notice that it is using synon for the stub again. So it did learn, I think, because we npm installed it into the package.json, it did take that into consideration this time. So instead of guessing that it was Jest, it knew that we were using synon. Also, it has access to this file that we have open, and so it was able to create that. Gosh, do I want to try to just put this one in? So here's this. I think here is where we add the other one. And let's go ahead and insert it and see if that works. Insert. We do have one thing here. Oh, I bet it's this. So it's the same thing with this open mocks piece. So I want to see. instead of fixing it right here, I'm noticing that there's basically it's going to be a copy paste. So I want to say, go back over to the chat, new conversation. How can we reuse the open text? Open text document mock and other tests to avoid code duplication. And I'm also going to put in here because we're mocking two things, find files. So I think this was a good catch. To reuse the open text document mock and find files mock and other tests and avoid code duplication, we can create helper functions that set up and tear down these mocks. Here's how we can refactor the code to achieve this. And I like this because it's putting this into test helpers. So what I'm going to do is, so this is inside suite, it's test helpers.ts. So let's create a new file and save. And this is going to be test helpers.ts. Cool. And we're going to go over here. So that's all of the test helpers. All right. Now let's update our test file to use these helper functions. And I think, we got to watch this. Like I was going to just like have it redo everything. But there's these other test pieces. So let's take a look at, there is no. Okay, so by using these helper functions, we've achieved several benefits: reduce code duplication, improve readability, easier maintenance, and consistency. Cool. So where do we need to fix things? So we are going to, here's our import. I do wish there was like a diff here, but there's not. So what are you going to do? All right. So these are our setups. And so in our suite here, we got our provider, and then we've got these. So let's add those in. And then our setup is good. Our teardown, we need to add that. All right. Find files mod. Cool. And so now get to do correctly identifies and abstracts to do items. So we've got our test files. And then here, what we're doing is we are just setting up these two mocks. So we don't need to do a lot of stuff, which is nice. So let's get rid of these. So we've got our find files mock. We've got our to do, which go down here. That cleans up a lot. All right. And then we got await to do's. Provider as any. That's interesting. Okay, and then down to our next test. And same thing. So we're gonna bring these in by running our setup functions that we created on our helpers. So we're gonna go down here, take that out, save. And then we got our to-do, get to-dos. And that seems to be happy. Okay. So we've gone over, but I wanted to add a couple of tests. I think we spent a little more time on the test agent, which I think has been needed. So we kind of saw how we can play around with that. I think a big piece was if it didn't know what we were using for mocks, it decided for us. And it was a good thing that I asked about that because that's not part of the setup. And so with a simple little ask inside, I was able to refine that test to use Synon. We got Synon set up, and then we noticed for future tests when it generated it used Synon. Another catch was it was trying to duplicate code, right? So that was something that I found. We were able to switch back over to the chat, pull that out, and I'm pretty sure, I'm not going to continue down this right now, but I'm pretty sure, but now that it knows that those are available, when it generates new tests, because it has that workspace context, it's going to use those functions to set up those mocks instead of writing duplicating code. So I do like that. Let's go ahead and run the tests. We are going to get the one that's failing for the integration test. I'm going to have to dig a little further into that, why that one's failing. But hopefully these tests will pass. So let's run the tests. I wonder, you know what? After each hook for cannot read properties of undefined, reading restore. So our test helpers are not working. That's sad. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to minimize that because I wonder if it's something with the spaces, like my spaces. So let's clear, and then let's run this one more time. Yeah, so integration test did not pass. And then our to-do tree data provider test suite did not pass. So we got 2 failing tests. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, copy this. And let's go back over. We're on the chat, new conversation. We're in the correct file. And say, how do we fix this failing test? Paste all that in. See what it says. Can we do this very quickly? The error you're encountering suggests that the restore method is being called on an undefined object. This is likely happening in the teardown function where you're trying to restore the mocks. The issue is that not all tests are setting up the mocks, but the teardown is trying to restore them regardless. Yes, because this first one, these first couple tests here, they don't actually use those mocks. That makes sense. Wow, I'm glad we asked. To fix this, we need to modify our teardown mocks function in the test helpers file to handle cases where mocks might not have been set up. Here's how we can update the teardown logic. So in teardown mocks, where is teardown mocks? So I could say what it is. So the change will check if mocks exist and has a restore method before attempting to call it. This way, even if a mock wasn't set up for a particular test, it won't cause an error in the teardown process. All right, so let's implement that. Now let's update the to-do tree data provider.test file to use this improved teardown function. Do we need to make any changes? I think it's already doing it. Oh, it might just be this or undefined. So our new little button that we found, that's very nice. Yeah, so what we're doing is we're saying that these mocks here are either a Synon stub or they're undefined. So if they were not set up, we're just going to make them that are undefined. And then we have this new teardown function where we are setting these to undefined. After we run teardown, find file mock. I don't think these. So in this test here, test files, I think that stayed the same. And I think that stayed the same. But we have a little error here. Or undefined is not assignable. Oh, did I? Yeah, I don't think this is handling where that is. Okay, so we got that or undefined, tear down. Okay, so we'll just go back to let's see, new conversation, fix code. Da, 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 da. So it says, well, we need the this modification. So I don't think that's the best place to do it, because inside here we are testing to see if it's right. So if we're running the test here. So this is so let's do this. Update this type to be an array of Synon stub or undefined. Beautiful. I think this is what we want. So we're saying bloop. And yes, I could have typed that out. I knew that's what it was going to do, but we don't have to. So yeah, so that makes that okay now. So let's see if that solved that problem. So again, I'm going to clear. Let's run the test. Cool. Did it? So the 2 tests that we added did not pass. So this is gets to-dos correctly identify and extract to-do items. Expected actual. So we got 0. We expected 3. So these are not working somehow, and it might be. Okay, so let's do the first one here. So just go back over new conversation. How do we fix this failing test? To fix the failing test, extracts to-do items, we need to investigate why the test is expecting 3 to-do items but finding 0. Let's go through the steps to resolve this. First, let's look at okay. The test is expecting 3 items, but it's finding 2. This suggests that the getToDos method is not correctly identifying or extracting the to-do items from the mock files. To fix this, we need to ensure that find files mock is correctly set up to return the test files. The open text document mock is correctly set up to return the content of the files. The getToDos method in the provider is correctly parsing the files and identifying to-do items. Let's first start by checking the implementation of setup find files mock and in the helpers. Okay. So see, if these helper functions look correct, the issue might be the method. You can add some console log statements or use a debugger to trace the execution of the getToDos method. Oh, I don't think it's. Add this line. I like that. So let's add this line. So in our getToDos, we want correctly identifies and extracts to-do items. Go down to where we grab our to-dos, and we're going to put in this console log and see what happens. So we got provider. All right. I guess it's going to come back with 0. Right. Oh, found to-dos empty. So there's definitely something going on with our test helpers. It's not being very helpful. So let's. Oh, wait, provider. So provider, where is provider? Provider is to-do tree provider. And we're in a setup. We are saying provider equal new provider. And then here we're doing mocks on VSCode.workspace because that's what it should be doing. So let's put in, I guess, the rest of these. Is there more console logs here? Do. So that's the found. So we'll go back to the testing is fun. Oh wait, that's test. I'm getting confused. Views. It's a view. So it's this get to dos function that we are working on. So const files equal await dot find files. We're saying find files everything. So let's do console.log found files. Document text document.get text. So let's run this again. Okay, so we do have files here. Scheme file 1, file 2, file 3. Okay, so we're getting closer to, I think it might be in this document. So let's open document. Well, document.uri. Would it be so bad if we just spit out the whole document? We'll find out. Okay, open documents. File 1. Okay. So this far seems good. But it might be the get text. So I'm going to get rid of this line because it's going to get kind of messy. And console log content of file text. Thank you, autocomplete. Okay, scroll up here. Content of file. So the contents of the file are coming back as empty. And so let's look at so this is probably our mock that's doing that, which is inside of not run tests, test helpers. So this is returning something fake. We're returning a promise and get text. So it should return content, which is the string. So here, I wonder what we're hitting. So if is the type of URI, else if, so it's something around here that's hitting it. So content when we're trying to pull this out. So file, test file.find, if name is equal to the fs pass, content, so is equal to file content, otherwise empty. So where in this are we? Let's see if we're in. No. No, not that. Yeah, how about that? Okay, so I'm going to take the stuff out of this because it's not this problem. This is not the problem. So clear. If only our integration test would work, but it doesn't. File, undefined. Okay. But we are getting inside of here. Mocks. I feel like we could just do a whole session on mocks. So, no, test helpers. So where is, okay, so test file has name and content. Okay. Setup open. Okay. So we're putting, I see. So this is our setup open document. And then we end up returning this mock. So this is the mock that we're creating. So we're here's the stub and calls fake. URI. So these options here, language and content, or undefined. So where are these options coming from? Okay, URI options. Not so sure about, you know what, let's do this. Oh. I want to explain this function. Okay. Rather than me trying to like trace it down by hand, let's see what it has to say. The selected code defines a function called setup open text document mock, which is used to create a mock implementation of this method for testing purposes. The function takes an array of test file objects as an argument. It uses Synon, a testing library, to create a stub. The stub is configured to use a custom implementation fake call that mimics the behavior of opening a text document. Inside the fake implementation, it handles different input types, URI or option objects. Okay. If URI, it searches for a matching test file, file in the test files array. If the option object with content is provided, it uses that. If neither is provided, it creates a W file. The function returns a promise that resolves an object mimicking the test document. This mock includes various properties and methods that a real text document should have. Many of these methods return dummy values or simple implementations to mimic. Yeah. Finally, the function returns the created mock, allowing it to be used in the test. This mock setup is particularly useful. Yep. So I think what we need to do is we need to see what your this is. So let's console log this out. Thank you. Oh man, I meant to only do 2 hours and we're almost at 3, but I wanted this to work. Interesting. So there's no content in here. URI or options. Oh, okay. No, there wouldn't be any content because it would take this path and look for it in the array that's being passed in. So let's look in the test at the array that's being passed in. And I think that is the problem. So the path here, and that is what we're using, right? This helper, fs path. So we got options. And okay, so the file is equal to test files passed in. We got f and f.name. Just making sure that name is equal to the URI dot paths, SF path. And so we actually don't have that because what we are getting is path, scheme, and this mid. So let's try this. Let's change this to I'm like, is that going to mess something up down here? I think I just need to change it in both places. Path. And then, so it's not going to match currently because we need a leading in the test files. Did I do this in the right place? So I think we have these test files. We'll deal with that one later. But let's see if that makes this. Okay. Oh, so we're getting files back now. Cool. So let's see. Did that now pass? Did it not? So we got the child items. We have files coming back. So that's label. What in the world? Yeah, so there's something going on with this mock. Okay, so it should be calling, because we're mocking get text, which is content. Should we just return content? Okay, and so file, we're looking for file.content. Okay, which it should have. Found to-dos. So here's files and content. So we're finding the files. Found to-dos. So let's take out this, because we are finding the files now. Content is equal to da 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 da. Get text returns content. Found to-dos. So if we go back over here, just go ahead and change that, because we need to have that leading for some reason. So we got test files, found to-dos. So this is returning to-dos. Oh, I see. Okay, so now we're asserting strict the to-dos of 0. So it looks like we got 3. Okay. To do correctly, values to be equal. Okay, what? Expected, actual. So it's stripping off the... Oh, you know what? This just might... Yeah, oh. I think this assertion is wrong. Because we don't have anything that's like actually stripping it off. Stripping off the comment piece, or the comment characters. So now that we fixed that, we've changed so much. I think that's right? To correctly identifies and extracts to-do items. Yeah, so we're closer. So this is another, we got, I think in this other test. So here's our content, and then, yeah. Dash, flip. So our assertion was wrong. right. Correctly handles file. Okay. Correctly handles files with multiple to-do items. Expected actual. Assertion error. Values have the same structure, but are not reference equal. This looks like a job for asking the AI. How do we fix the following test failure? See, the test failure you're experiencing is due to mismatch in the expected and actual URI objects. The test is expecting a specific URI object, but it's receiving a different one, even though they might have the same structure. To fix this, we need to adjust how we're comparing URI objects. Instead of comparing URI objects directly, we should compare their string representations. What? Oh, it's down here. So we're actually passing these assertions here. Replacing this part. So what do we got? Index, collapsible state, none. Okay. Strict equal. Command channel. Two. Oh, with this updated version. Here's the updated version. Okay. The key change here is in how we're comparing the URI objects. Okay. Okay, array, that is array. So it's this piece right here. Okay. Clear. Come on, big bucks, no whammies. Integration test still needs to be fixed. Oh, we have one failing. Okay. Let's get rid of those console logs. Console log file. Let's see, find console.log. Okay. Got rid of those. Don't have any. Then we got that we don't need. They weren't big problems. It just took us a bit to find them. Okay. So, great. So get to-dos correctly identifies and extracts to-do items, correctly handles files with multiple to-do items. Both are passing now. So the only thing that's failing is the integration test, which I need to look into because I'm not sure what's going on there. But all right, oh man, I've gone like almost a whole hour over what I was planning to do. But we got to play around a lot with the testing agent and spend a little more time on testing, which for the last couple streams we've not been able to do. So I'm happy about that. I think we learned some important things about using the testing agent, how to get it to work the way we want to ask the questions about, it's like, it's trying to add in just like, is that what is kind of the standard for testing VS Code extensions? We learned that it was Synon. We were able to just kind of tell it to use Synon instead of jest. And then once we got the one in there, it was able to do it right. We're guessing that because we created these test helpers that now work correctly, anything that needs those mocks, we'll use those going forward. And so it's just building on it little by little. And I think it was very helpful because like I wouldn't even know kind of where to start with like the different test cases I need to add in. So having Tabnine generate a test plan, I think was very helpful, and it got me like on the way. But then it was just a lot of kind of debugging. With my favorite way of debugging is just like pasting things in the chat and being like, how do I fix this? Or using the /fix code. So this was fun. Building the extension was not difficult. Now we didn't get into some of the more advanced things, taking a look at like what's highlighted in the cursor and things like that. But we did explore looking through all the files in the workspace, pulling out those comments, and then also kind of displaying it in kind of a nice way on the sidebar. So you could already see that, there was a change. The change was there. It wasn't on the VS Code that I was working on, but you could see it. We clicked on the different items and they did take us to the correct file in the location that we wanted. So that was nice. Thank you for joining me. I will be doing something different next Tuesday. I do this every Tuesday starting at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And I try to limit it to 2 hours, but sometimes I go over, like today. So in 3 minutes, Atticus is going to be demanding food. But until then, I will see everyone later. I'm not even on the right thing to do this. So let's play us out with a little background music. All right. And I will see everyone next Tuesday. Go check out the blog post for creating a Chrome extension, now available on the Tabnine blog. Share it with your friends. Do whatever. TTFN, everyone. Ta-ta for now. Bye.